Is the crippling need to grasp for control, whether it's control in your relationships, with food, with your body, with exercise, with your kids, with your job, is it interfering with your life? Is it creating anxiety and fear and dysfunction? Because it definitely has been for me. And I want to share with you a really important story that taught me so much about how to finally let go of control so that I can experience more peace, more trust, and more calm within myself. I'm so excited to share this with you. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Live Unrestricted podcast, a show where you'll learn how to heal your relationship with food and your body so that you can focus your time and energy on more important things like your personal growth. I'm your host, Sabrina Magna, food freedom coach, and my mission is to help make your life happier and healthier without stress, overwhelm, or guilt about food. If you love the show, please do go out and share it. And if you're looking for support with your relationship with food, details about my programs are in the show notes. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's jump in. All right, welcome back for part 2 of this little story time. And if you didn't listen to part 1 in the last episode, I gave you more context about what I'm sharing, why I'm sharing it, and more specifically, some experiences that I experienced last week that taught me some really incredible life lessons that I know I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life that are going to have such a massive impact. So in the last episode, I talked about one specific situation that taught me a lot about triggers and how to change my relationship with triggers and how to use them to help me heal and grow versus to beat myself up and to tell myself that I haven't healed as much as I thought I had or hadn't grown and all of that stuff that's not true and that just keeps you more stuck in negative self-talk and in shame. And we know that shame is like a terrible motivator for long-term change. So that was part 1. And I wanted to split this into 2 parts so that I don't make these episodes too long. And so in this episode, we are talking about the second situation that I was in that taught me a lot about control. First of all, raise your hand if you feel like you have a hard time letting go of control. And chances are that if you have spent a lot of time trying to control your weight and your body through dieting, restriction, right? Trying to control food through calorie counting and weighing and micromanaging everything that you put in your mouth, or trying to control your body through exercise, right? Like feeling this sense of control and certainty and predictability in, okay, if I work out a certain amount, if I burn a certain amount of calories and I can control the way that I look, then chances are that you're going to be able to relate to this episode. There is such a deep link between control, disordered eating, body image issues, and also perfectionism. Us perfectionists, and I'm putting myself in that bucket, I am actively working through it, but look, I'll be honest, I'm right there with you. We crave predictability. We want to know that we can succeed at something before we even try it. We are rigid. We are anxious. And we are very demanding of ourselves, very critical of ourselves, and often of others too. And I've been feeling the effects of that a lot in my life lately and how it shows up in my work. And the thing about these patterns that keep showing up and that create pain in your life is that at a certain point, what's going to happen is it's going to become more and more and more painful. And it's going to be your soul really trying to show you, because when we experience pain, we pay attention. Like as humans, our brains are wired to pay attention to negative experiences and emotions because that's what has kept us alive. So unfortunately, a lot of us wait until it gets too painful that the pain of staying the same is worse than the pain of changing. Because if change wasn't somewhat painful or uncomfortable, everyone would do it. So I definitely experienced that pain of needing to control around food and my body image years ago, right? It got to a point where it was so deeply interfering with my life, my physical health, my mental health. It was quite literally stopping me from living and enjoying my one life on this earth, that forced me to do something that would get me out of this need for control. And for me, that was my initial trip to Italy. Like before going to Italy, I was so attached to controlling everything, to knowing every single calorie in my food, every ingredient in my food, weighing down to the extra almond or the extra 2 grams of peanut butter, and knowing exactly how many calories I burned, how many calories I ate. Everything was thought of and controlled and rigid. And I was, in no surprise, extremely anxious. I was not happy. And I knew that I needed to do something for me personally. Like everyone's different, so please don't take this as advice or what you should be doing. But for me, I knew at the time that I needed to do something that was going to shock my system and push me to do something I didn't want to do. So that was going to Italy. Like I was so effing terrified to go because I knew you're not going to know every calorie in your food. You're not going to be weighing your food. And actually, a lot of people are going to be serving you, feeding you. I was living in an Italian family's household, so they were the ones making the meals. I was not going to be able to make different meals, although I did, especially in the first few weeks. Like it was a really big challenge, but little by little, it forced me to let go of that control. So I want to set the scene here because this has been a pattern that has evolved in my life. And when it moved from food and body, because I really don't feel that anymore, it migrated into other areas of my life. And I don't see that as a failure or a bad thing because it's less intense. As life goes on, as I work through it, it's less and less intense, but it's still there. So in the past few months, and I would say probably in the last 6 months, I've become acutely aware of ways in which this grasping for control is actually holding me back in a lot of ways in my work and in my business. And it affects me a lot. It affects me physically because I put so much pressure on myself that I get this like huge pressure migraine. By the end of the day, I'm so effing exhausted. And this isn't every day, but I can see a lot of ways in which this need for control and this like compulsive energy is showing up, and I want to let it go. So at this human design hotel launch on the second day, there was a session, which was a breath work and sound healing session. And I just want to give a shout out to the 2 incredible women who led and facilitated this session. So Lauren of Love and Stephanie Burgos. Just I have no words for how healing these 2 women are. So if you want to look them up, they're just so incredible. And I went into this session not knowing what to expect. I've done breath work at home a ton and like YouTube videos, but I had a lot of people in the circle of the group that we were doing it with that were like very excited, and they were talking about how it can get very intense. And I was thinking, I was like, really? Like we're just we're just breathing. Like, how can it be that intense? But I was open to anything that needed to come up and be released. So we're sitting on our mats before we start, and they tell us to set an intention about something that we want to release, because breath work, it feels like you are releasing stuck energy in your body. And I'm sure that you've experienced this before, that when you have something in your life that is perpetuated and you feel like it's stuck and you feel like you can't let go of it, it literally is energy that is stuck in your body that needs to be released through some kind of somatic practice. So she really made us connect with ourselves and just tap into what feels like within yourself, what comes up that needs to be released. And immediately, the first word was control. I want to let go of this need to control. I want to have more trust in myself, in my path, and trust that when I follow what feels good, when I follow where I'm being pulled to, when I follow my intuition, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, not what quote unquote is right or what other people are doing or what I should be doing, but what feels right for me. Because one of the things that Lauren said was that doing something quote unquote right, and I think that a lot of us as women, we get caught up in what is the right thing to do, what is the right way to eat, what is the right way to work out, what is the right way to look. We are so focused on this external definition of right. And that is definitely something that I experience in my work, like what is the right way to do something. And Lauren said something that I want to share with you because it was really impactful, which is that there is no definition of right. Like what is right for one person is not right for the other. And if you look at the online space or like the business that I'm in, someone could be doing things in one way that is considered quote unquote right. And then someone else who is also extremely successful is doing it in their own way, in a way that is not quote unquote right, but it's working for them. So there actually is no right or wrong way to do things. It's not a fact, it's a feeling. Doing something right is a feeling. I want you to write this down or really take that in. Because if the way that you are eating right now, maybe you aren't eating carbs or maybe you are counting calories, if it doesn't feel right, listen to that. When I'm working in a certain way that is very pressure driven, it doesn't feel right. And I know it. I'm like, this is not in alignment. This is not the way that I want to operate. I can feel that. So just that little tangent of like this need to get things right. I can relate to it. I understand it. I experience it. But how can you change your definition to right being a feeling? Another beautiful example that's coming through for me right now is I've been in situations where I was dating someone who was quote unquote right on paper. They valued me. They treated me well. They were kind. They had a good, stable job. They wanted to get married. Like they had all of the things that if you were to check it off on the boxes, they had them all. But when I was in that relationship, I knew this is not right for me. And I could feel like it was like a puzzle that wasn't fitting and it wasn't right for me. And that person might be really right for someone else. And when I met Luke, it was a feeling of, oh yes, this is right. This is my person. This is right for me. But Luke would not be right for someone else, for example. So coming back to this breath work session, I am sitting there getting ready to experience whatever needs to come through and be released. And for me, it was control. So this session lasted an hour and a half. And the first 20 to 30 minutes was a lot more of the sound healing. So Lauren was on the sound bowls. I think that's what they're called, like those bowls that create that vibration. And she had a shruti box, another instrument. And she's also a beautiful singer. So she was singing as well. And we are there just on our back, breathing and listening to this music. And I can feel a lot of resistance within me. I'm lying there, I'm breathing, I'm trying to be present, but I can feel that my ego doesn't want to let go and just be present. And I've experienced what it feels like to really just let go and be present. And my ego just like was really struggling with that. And then we start doing the breath work. And the breath work is like some pretty intense, like mouth breathing. And it's requiring you to really get your body involved. And as we're getting into it, I'm noticing some people around me are making these noises. And she had even said, when we get into the breath work, like if you feel called to make these like wild noises or to move or to dance or whatever you are feeling called to do, follow that urge, do it. There's no judgment. There's nothing that you can do that we have never done or seen before. So like this is a safe space to follow what feels right for you. So I'm there and I'm like, I'm not going to be making noises. I'm not going to be dancing. Like that's so weird. This was my thought process. So as we get into the breathing, people around me are making noises and some people are crying like really loudly. And it was so interesting, you guys. I could notice and hear my ego being like, that's so weird. That's so weird. Like, what are they doing? Like, do they realize that there's other people around you? And I immediately was like, whoa, why? Like, why am I so judgmental of what other people need to do in order to release energy from their bodies? And then my ego goes, well, should you be doing that? Like I could tell that people around me were either like lying down or sitting up, like people were doing different things with their bodies. And so then I was like, well, what's the right way to do this? Should I be sitting up? Should I be lying down? And then luckily I clocked that because this was again something coming up for me as a gift of, okay, you said you wanted to let go of control. You said you wanted to let go of doing things right. So are you actually going to let go of that and let yourself do whatever feels right for you? Because what feels right for you is the right thing for you. And so as the breath work went on, I started experiencing this insane level of resistance between my soul and my higher self that wanted to release this energy and be wild and lose control, which is exactly what my intention was. And then my ego being like, no, don't do it. You're going to look silly. People are going to judge you. Like all of these things that I noticed started getting really, really loud. And it was this fight, this back and forth of like, no, I want to let go. No, I got to hold back. No, I want to let go. No, I want to hold back. And I know that we all experience this on a daily basis of like, there's a part of us that wants to come through, that wants to be authentic, that wants to be ourselves. And then we have a lot of fear of like, no, don't do that. Don't be too much. Don't be too loud. Don't be too much yourself. And another aside about this is something that I loved so much about Lauren and Stephanie is how extremely authentic in themselves they were throughout the entire weekend. Like on the second night, we had a dinner all together at the hotel and some people were wearing dresses, like people were dressed really fancy. And Lauren comes down in sweatpants and her hair in like a messy bun. And she didn't give an F. She was like, this is what I want. I wanted to be comfy. This is what I wanted to wear. And no one said anything. No one cared because she was so authentically herself. And this wasn't the type of thing where it was inappropriate. Like, we were inside a building. It's not like we were out at like a fancy restaurant. And it was really inspiring to see that, because something that I have within myself is whenever I'm going out somewhere, I will hyper focus and get like so caught up and anxious about what I'm going to wear. Am I going to wear the right thing? Are people going to judge what I'm wearing? Am I going to fit in with the quote unquote vibe? Like, there is way too much of a mental dilemma that happens anytime I go somewhere that is not like hanging out at someone's house, but like a concert in a group or a dinner in a group. Like, I just get really caught up in what is the quote unquote right thing to wear versus what do I want to wear? Like, what is my style? Because my style is not someone else's style, and someone else's style is not my style. And I don't judge what other people wear. So why would they be judging me? And even if they are judging me, like, that's a reflection of them, not on me. So seeing her be so authentically herself and wear what she wanted and be who she wanted, it was really inspiring. So I'm in this breathwork session, experiencing that fight. And then finally, I see it. I'm like, this is what you're meant to let go of. Like, this fight that you're experiencing is this need for control and this need to get it right, trying to be released from your body. And eventually, I just let go. I was in enough of a safe space where these other women were letting go, and they were letting themselves make these wild noises and dance, and they weren't worried about what other people thought. So I was like, this is a safe space for me to just let the F go. And when I did, I've had like full body chills this entire recording session right now. I started hyperventilating. I started full body shaking, like crying uncontrollably. And even when I started crying, I noticed my voice going, you should stop crying so much. You probably look like a mess right now. Your makeup is probably running all over your face, and you are so messy, and you are so loud, and you are taking up so much space. And as I'm like shaking and noticing all of this come up, and I'm present with it, I just realize it is safe to be all of those things. It is safe to lose control. It is safe to be messy and have makeup all over your face. It is safe to take up space, to stand out, to be loud, to be weird. And the biggest thing, at one point, there is like this calming song that comes on, and she prompts us and says, what is one message that your higher self wants to hear from you right now? And immediately it came through. It is safe to be yourself. And this was such a profound moment for me, because I didn't think that I had been living my life as not myself. And there's always another layer deeper. I think that I am very much authentic and very much myself in many ways, but there's always ways to go deeper. There's always ways in which I am second guessing myself, or thinking that I don't want to be too much, or I don't want to be the odd man out. I don't want to stick out. I don't want to be myself in this way. I don't want to own my style or own who I am. And recognizing that there is a new level of freedom that is available for me when I stop caring so much about what other people think, that was so liberating. Because at the end of the day, there's always going to be people who don't like you, whether you are yourself or you're being someone else. And oftentimes when you're being someone else, you attract the wrong people, and then you feel even more misaligned. And this acceptance to let go of all of this need to control what other people think of me, that was so freeing. So we ended the breathwork session. It took a few hours to kind of recoup. And then I spent like 3 days just deeply integrating, doing lots of meditation, doing lots of journaling, and spending some time in silence, because this was a big thing that came through. And I asked myself, how can I bring this into my life more? Because yes, like the beautiful experience, that's wonderful. But then you go back to your life and it's about how can I integrate what I've learned? Because I want to have more trust in myself, in the universe, in things unfolding for my own good, in the right people coming into my life. I want to let go of that control, because when you are controlling, you are grasping and you are like tightening your fist, and you cannot receive with a closed fist. It stops you from growing and expanding and being creative, because then you're just always in survival mode. And it is really hard. It's nearly impossible to create, to be in creation mode when you're in survival mode. So I really wanted to integrate how I can practice letting go of control more and more in my life. And of course, along with that came my thoughts about you listening to this podcast, you, my clients inside of Food Freedom Academy, you, my Instagram followers, that I know that you probably want to let go of that more. So I'm going to just share with you how I am integrating this. Obviously, it's not going to be an overnight thing. Disillusioned into thinking I'm going to change overnight. So I am practicing in all of these small ways, because the way you do one thing is the way you do most things. So the way that I am practicing this letting go of control is noticing when it comes up in these non-threatening situations. For example, Luke is a beautiful teacher of mine. He is a mirror. He is a reflection of things within me that I get to let go of and I get to release. And he is so beautiful because he doesn't have this need for control. Like, we are total opposites in that way. And I admire that in him. And part of that scares me, because I'm like, how do you move through the world without needing to control everything? So he lets me be me. He gives me space to be weird and to do things my way. And I love that about him. And I think that I can learn some of that as well. So I'm using him a lot as a way to practice things that I used to try to meddle in and micromanage. I am now so much more aware of when I'm doing that. And you might have that too. Like, maybe it's your husband who is making the lunches for your kids and they're not doing it, quote unquote, right. Or the way they do their laundry or the way they clean, they're not doing it, quote unquote, right. And so it's taking these small, non-threatening situations in your life to practice saying, you know what? That's not the way that I would do it. And that's okay. And the more you do that, it's like a muscle. It's like if you procrastinate a lot, then you're going to procrastinate on the big things. But if you practice doing things in the moment a lot, then you're going to start doing that with the big things in your life as well. So starting with small things, because obviously if you are trying to jump into the deep end and you're like, you know what, I used to need to control food and now I'm just going to hands up, no control, then you're going to feel super chaotic in your life. It's going to be a shock to your nervous system. You're going to feel super dysregulated. You're going to go into panic mode, and then it's going to be too much. And then you're just going to retreat to what is comfortable. In the first module of Food Freedom Academy, we talk about the 3 zones of growth. And the zone that you want to stay away from, the red zone, is the panic zone. And I think a lot of people don't take that into account when it comes to expanding your capacity of your nervous system. So you don't want to do too much at once, but you want to look at what are some small things in my life where I get to delegate and let go of the control. Maybe it's letting someone in your life plan something for you. For me, I'm also going to use this opportunity to do that in business. What are some things that I can delegate even more? Some things that I can let go of control. And it doesn't feel good. Like it's easier. It's easier to do things the way you've always done. It's easier to tell yourself that you're the only one who can do it, quote unquote, right. And the more you do this, you build up evidence that it is safe to do so. Again, like you haven't built up enough proof that you can let go of control and be okay. Now, when it comes to food in my body, there's no fear at all. There's no need for control because I have enough proof that I don't need to. I don't need to control everything I put into my mouth. I can be healthy and I can maintain my healthy weight and I can trust myself to take care of my body without needing to control everything. But it needs to be this like conscious experiment that you go on and that you implement and that you practice, and you use situations in your life to show yourself that it is safe to let go of that control. So that's what I'm going to be doing more and more. And you are more than welcome to hold me accountable and to help me, because it is easy and natural to want to retreat back to what you've always known and what kept you safe at one point in your life. But if it is now interfering with your life and your expansion and your growth and your level of creation, then this is your invitation to gently let it go. So that was my experience in the beautiful breathwork session. I'm so grateful that I got to experience that. I will now actively be seeking more of those experiences of letting go of control and letting go and letting my wild side and who I really am come through. And I want to thank you for everyone who listens to this podcast, because this is a space where I do feel like I can be 100% myself. Like who you are hearing, what you are getting, this is who I am. Like there is no mask. I think it helps that I'm in my office when I record these. So it feels like I'm just talking to my best friend. But this has been a beautiful challenge over the past 3 years to just step more and more into who I am and what I have to say. And it's really helped me grow and solidify the kind of person that I am. So thank you for being so kind. Like I know that a lot of people get a lot of hate on the internet and on even their podcasts and their YouTube videos. And I just have beautiful listeners. Like I've only ever gotten really kind words of support and of gratitude. And so I thank you so much for creating this safe space for me. And I hope that you have gotten as much from this podcast as I have gotten from it. It's been a huge gift. So thank you so much. We are soon going to be celebrating our 3 years of this podcast. Incredible. Send this episode or this podcast in general to more people that you think could use it and benefit from it. And I hope that the part 1 and 2 of this little story time was helpful for you. Thank you so much for listening. I love you so, so much, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you found it valuable, I would love if you would share it with someone you know that could benefit. If you're loving the show, don't forget to subscribe over on Apple Podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. I really love hearing feedback from you, so please leave a rating and review over on Apple to help us get in the ears of more people who need it the most. Finally, come hang out with me on Instagram at Sabrina Magna Health for more educational content and get up close and personal with me. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode.